The coffee spread across his chest in slow motion. Expensive Italian while soaking up cheap diner brew. And Lily Morrison knew she'd just destroyed her last chance at survival. 6 hours earlier, Lily's alarm didn't go off because she couldn't afford to replace the phone's dying battery. She woke at 7:43 a.m. to sunlight slicing through the broken blinds of her studio apartment, panic immediate and acidic. Her interview was at 8:30, downtown, 40 minutes away. She grabbed the gray blazer from Goodwill, the one with the small stain she'd tried to hide with a scarf, pulled her dark hair into a ponytail that showed 3 weeks of roots she couldn't afford to color, and ran. The subway card reader declined twice before accepting her last $2.75. The train stalled at 14th Street. Of course it did. Lily stood pressed between commuters who smelled like expensive coffee and dry cleaning, watching the minutes tick past on the subway car's clock. 8:29, 8:34, 8:41. Her interview was for a receptionist position at a marketing firm, $35,000 annually, which might as well have been $1 million. Her current job at Murphy's Diner paid $11 an hour plus tips that barely covered her $1,200 rent. She was 2 months behind. Her landlord had stopped being understanding. She emerged at Rockefeller Center at 8:56, 26 minutes late, and sprinted the 3 blocks to Hartman & Associates. The lobby was marble and mood lighting. She looked like exactly what she was, a 24-year-old woman whose last meal had been ramen and whose brown eyes carried the exhaustion of too many double shifts. The receptionist, immaculate, judgmental, barely glanced up. The 8:30 interview. Yes, I'm so sorry. The train. They filled the position an hour ago. We had a walk-in with better qualifications. The words landed like stones. Lily stood there, breathing carefully through the crushing weight of another failure. Could I leave my resume? In case something else. We'll keep it on file. The dismissal was absolute. Lily walked back outside into October sunshine that felt like mockery. She had $14.32 in her checking account. Her next shift at Murphy's started at 3 p.m. She'd work until midnight, earn maybe $60 after tax, and still be drowning. Her phone buzzed. Text from her landlord. Final notice. Pay by Friday or eviction proceedings begin. Friday was 3 days away. She needed $2,400 she didn't have. Lily walked toward the subway, each step a small defeat. Then her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello, Lily Morrison? This is Janet Rees from Kincaid Consulting. Your resume came through our recruitment system. Are you still seeking administrative positions? Lily stopped walking. Yes, absolutely. We have an immediate opening for an executive assistant. The position reports directly to our CEO. Starting salary is $62,000 plus full benefits. Could you interview today at noon? The number made her dizzy. Yes. Where? Kincaid Tower, 52nd and Lexington. Ask for me at the executive floor. Lily agreed, hung up, and stood on the sidewalk trying to process. Kincaid Consulting. She pulled them up on her cracked phone screen. Corporate strategy firm. Major clients. Privately held. CEO, James Kincaid, 36, Harvard MBA, Ford's 30 under 37 years ago. The photo showed a man with dark hair, sharp features, and eyes that looked like they could calculate your net worth at 20 paces. She had 3 hours. No money for lunch. The blazer would have to work. She found a Starbucks, used the bathroom to fix her makeup, drugstore concealer over the dark circles, mascara on lashes that were naturally long but needed help. She looked tired but presentable. Maybe. At 11:47, she entered Kincaid Tower. 53 floors of steel and ambition. Security directed her to the express elevator. The executive floor was all glass walls and hushed efficiency. Janet Rees met her, tailored dress, confident smile. Lily, thank you for coming on short notice. Follow me. They walked through an open office space where people worked at standing desks with multiple monitors. No cubicles. Everyone looked focused, purposeful, well paid. The CEO is very particular about his assistant. You'd manage his schedule, handle correspondence, coordinate with department heads. It's demanding but rewarding. Janet paused outside a corner office. He's finishing a call. Wait here. Lily sat in a leather chair that probably cost more than her couch. Through the glass wall, she could see him, James Kincaid, on the phone, pacing. Expensive suit, precise movements, the kind of intensity that suggested he rarely stopped working. He ended the call, glanced through the glass, and saw her. Their eyes met for exactly 3 seconds. Then he gestured for Janet. They spoke quietly. Janet nodded, returned. "Mr. Kincaid will see you now." Lily entered the office. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Manhattan. James Kincaid stood behind his desk, studying her with unnerving focus. "Ms. Morrison, sit." She sat. He remained standing. "Your resume shows limited administrative experience. 3 years at Murphy's Diner, 6 months at a failed startup, currently part-time waitressing. Why should I hire you?" Lily met his gaze. "Because I work harder than anyone you'll interview. I need this job, which means I'll never be late, never complain, and never give you reason to regret the chance. I learn fast and I don't quit." Everyone says that. Not everyone means it. I do. Something shifted in his expression. "The position requires occasional travel, late hours, weekend availability. Can you handle that?" "Yes." "The assistant before you quit after 2 months said I was too demanding." "I don't disagree with that assessment. I've worked split shifts while studying for my degree. I once covered 3 positions for 6 hours because the staff called in sick. Demanding doesn't scare me." James Kincaid studied her for a long moment. "Then, you start Monday. Janet will handle paperwork. Don't be late." He turned back to his window. Interview over. Lily stood, shaking slightly. "Thank you, Mr. Kincaid." "Don't thank me. Just be excellent." She left in a daze. Janet processed her hire with efficient congratulations. Salary, benefits, direct deposit setup. When Lily saw the health insurance coverage, she nearly cried. Dental, vision, mental health services. Things she hadn't had in years. She emerged onto Lexington Avenue at 107, and the city looked different. Brighter. Possible. Her phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. "Congratulations. You earned this. See you Monday." J.K. Lily stared at the message. At the implied familiarity of personal contact. At a billionaire CEO who had hired her despite her thin resume and obvious desperation. Something felt strange about the timing. About being recruited hours after a failed interview. But she pushed the thought aside because she needed this too much to question it. She went to Murphy's, worked her shift, and gave 2 weeks' notice. Her manager was sorry to lose her, but unsurprised. "You were always too smart for this place, kid." That night, Lily paid her landlord online, borrowing from her future first paycheck via a salary advance Janet had arranged. The eviction notice disappeared. She bought groceries without checking prices. She slept 8 hours for the first time in months. Monday morning, she arrived at Kincaid Tower at 7:45 a.m. Early. Professional. James Kincaid was already there, of course. Coffee. Black. Now. Her first task. She went to the break room, found the premium machine, made it perfectly. Walking back, she didn't see the intern rushing past. The collision was inevitable. Hot coffee arcing through air, landing directly on James Kincaid's chest as he stepped into the hallway. Lily watched the dark stains spread across $1,000 fabric and felt her new life ending as quickly as it had begun. "Mr. Kincaid, I'm so sorry." He looked down at his ruined suit, then at her horrified face. Then he laughed. Actually laughed. "Well," James Kincaid said, eyes bright with something unexpected. "I suppose we're even now. I ruined your morning last week. Fair is fair." Lily's mind went blank. "What?" "The interview you missed. At Hartman and Associates. I was there. I saw you get turned away." His smile was slight, but genuine. "I'm the walk-in who filled the position. I was consulting for them, heard your name, looked you up, and decided you were wasted on reception work. So I had Janet call you. Consider the coffee payback for my interference." The hallway tilted. You manipulated my job offer? I created an opportunity you deserved. There's a difference." He removed his jacket, apparently unconcerned about the coffee. "Now get me a new shirt from my office closet, left cabinet, blue section. And stop looking at me like I'm insane. I have excellent instincts about people. You're going to be extraordinary at this job." He walked away, leaving Lily standing with an empty coffee cup and 100 questions. Lily found the shirt, pressed, perfect, probably worth her weekly grocery budget. When she brought it to his office, James was on the phone again, working in his undershirt like the coffee incident had been minor turbulence. He mouthed, "Thank you," changed while she awkwardly faced the window, and was back to business before she processed anything. "Morning brief," he said, buttoning cuffs. I have 4 meetings today. The 2 p.m. with Cordell Industries is critical. They're deciding on a 3-year consulting contract. I need updated market analysis, their last 3 quarterly reports, and background on their new CFO. Can you handle that? Yes. Lily's voice was steadier than she felt. Good. Also, I'm speaking at Columbia Business School tonight at 7. I need the presentation revised, less corporate jargon, more practical application. Current version is on the shared drive. Anything else? Yes. He met her eyes. Stop wondering why I hired you. The answer is simple. You reminded me of someone I used to be. Someone who worked brutally hard and needed one person to notice. Consider yourself noticed. He dismissed her with a gesture. Lily returned to her desk outside his office, clean, organized, equipped with 2 monitors and a phone that actually worked, and tried to focus. But his words circled in her mind. You reminded me of someone I used to be. She dove into work because it was easier than thinking. Market analysis for Cordell Industries. Quarterly reports. Background checks. By 1 p.m., she compiled a 30-page briefing that anticipated every question. James reviewed it in 7 minutes. This is excellent. You found the CFO's prior bankruptcy filing. That's leverage we needed. Well done. The praise landed unexpectedly. Lily nodded. Professional. Thank you. Join the Cordell meeting. Take notes. I want your observations afterward. She followed him to the conference room at 1:58. The Cordell executives arrived precisely at 2. 3 men in expensive suits who evaluated Lily with barely concealed dismissal before focusing on James. For 90 minutes, she watched him work. He was brilliant, analytical, persuasive, 3 steps ahead of every objection. He used her research seamlessly, wielding facts like precision instruments. When the CFO challenged their fee structure, James cited the bankruptcy filing Lily had found, reframing it as exactly why they needed Kincaid's risk management expertise. The executives left at 3:30 with a signed letter of intent. 3-year contract. 7-figure fees. James returned to the conference room where Lily was organizing notes. Your observations? The CFO is your opposition. He's protecting his position. If your consulting reveals weaknesses, he's vulnerable. You'll need to make him feel secure, or he'll sabotage implementation. James smiled. Actual warmth. Exactly right. See, you're wasted on reception work. They walked back toward his office. Lily found her courage. Can I ask you something? Always. How did you know I'd be at Hartman and Associates that morning? He was quiet for a moment. Then, I didn't. I was consulting for them on a hiring system overhaul. Pure coincidence. But when I saw you get dismissed, exhausted, disappointed, clearly struggling, I looked you up. Found your resume in their database. Saw Murphy's Diner on your employment history. He paused. My mother waitressed at Murphy's 20 years ago. Same location. She worked herself sick trying to provide for me. When I saw your work history, your gaps in employment, your part-time degree, I saw her. So I created a position you'd actually want. Lily's throat tightened. That's why you said we're even. You feel like you owe your mother something. I feel like I owe people like my mother everything. People who work impossibly hard and stay invisible. His gray eyes were serious. But I didn't hire you out of charity, Lily. I hired you because you're exactly what I need. Someone who understands what it costs to survive. That perspective makes you better at this job than any MBA graduate. Before she could respond, Janet appeared. Mr. Kincaid, your 4 p.m. is here. Also, Columbia called. They need you there by 6:30, not 7. Traffic issues. James swore quietly. The presentation isn't ready. Lily, can you finish it in 90 minutes? Yes. You're coming with me to Columbia. I'll need you to manage Q&A logistics. He grabbed his jacket. We leave at 5:45. Lily returned to her desk, heart racing. She pulled up his presentation, 40 slides of dense strategy frameworks, and started cutting. Less jargon, more stories, practical applications. She restructured the entire arc, adding notes for his delivery. At 5:43, she sent it to his phone. At 5:45, they were in his car, a black Mercedes with a driver she hadn't expected, heading uptown. James reviewed her work on his tablet. This is better than my original. You have good instincts for narrative. I was an English major before I ran out of tuition money. He glanced at her. Before or after your parents stopped helping? The question was too accurate. After they died. Car accident, junior year. No life insurance. I finished the semester, then dropped out to cover funeral costs and their debts. Lily had never told an employer that. Didn't know why she was telling him. I'm sorry. James's voice was genuine. How much debt? That's personal. Fair enough. He returned to the presentation. For what it's worth, you can finish your degree through Kincaid's education benefit. Full tuition reimbursement after 6 months' employment. Lily stared. That's real. It's in your benefits package. Janet probably mentioned it. He smiled slightly. Read your contract, Lily. You have more resources than you realize now. They arrived at Columbia at 6:28. The business school auditorium held 200 students. Hungry, ambitious, trying to decode success. James spoke for 45 minutes, using Lily's restructured presentation. He was engaging, funny, surprisingly humble. When he talked about his mother working 3 jobs, the room went silent. During Q&A, Lily managed microphones and time limits. Afterward, a dozen students crowded around James. One young woman asked Lily, "How did you get your job?" "I've applied everywhere." Lily thought about that morning at Hartman and Associates. About coffee spreading across expensive wool. About the strange luck of being seen. I was in the right place at the right time. But also, I didn't give up. Keep applying. Someone will notice. They left at 8:40. James was energized, still processing student questions. That went well. Thank you for the presentation revisions. Just doing my job. You're doing far more than that. He studied her in the dim car interior. How are you getting home? Subway. It's almost 9 p.m. Marcus will drive you. He told his driver her address before she could protest. They rode in comfortable silence through Manhattan. When they reached her building in Queens, old brick, decent but clearly struggling, James walked her to the door. "Thank you for today," he said. "You made it easier. That's literally what you pay me for." "True. But I don't usually enjoy work the way I did today. That's rarer than you'd think." He hesitated, something uncertain crossing his face. "Lily, I want to be clear about something. When I hired you, it was professional calculation. Right person, right time. But the more I work with you, the more I realize you're exactly the kind of person who makes everything better just by being present. That's not about guilt or my mother or charity. It's about you." Lily's pulse jumped. "Mr. Kincaid, James. When we're not at the office." "James, I can't. I work for you. This can't be complicated. It's already complicated. I'm just being honest about it." He stepped back, professional distance restored. "But I'm not asking for anything. Just acknowledging what's here. You deserve to know you're not just a good assistant. You're remarkable." He returned to the car, leaving Lily standing outside her building with a racing heart and dangerous hope. Over the next 3 weeks, they fell into rhythm. Lily anticipated his needs before he voiced them. James trusted her with increasingly sensitive work, client negotiations, strategy sessions, confidential analysis. They worked late most nights, ordering dinner to the office, talking about everything from corporate ethics to favorite books. He never crossed professional lines. But the way he looked at her sometimes, like she was the most interesting person in his meticulously ordered world, made those lines feel arbitrary. Then came the morning that changed everything. Lily arrived at 7:30 to find James already there, staring at his laptop with an expression she'd never seen. Uncertainty. "What's wrong?" she asked. "I need advice. Personal, not professional. And you're the only person I trust to be honest." She sat across from his desk. "Okay. My mother is sick. Stage 3 cancer. She starts treatment next week, but she's refusing to let me pay for private care. Says she doesn't need special treatment." His voice was tight. "I built this entire company so she'd never struggle again. Now she's dying and won't let me help. How do I convince someone that accepting help isn't weakness?" Lily understood instantly. "You can't. Not directly. She spent her whole life being strong for you. Letting you help now feels like admitting defeat." She paused. "But you can reframe it. Tell her you need her input on something. A project. Make her feel useful, not rescued. People like your mother, people like me, we don't want pity. We want purpose." James absorbed this. "A project. What if you created a scholarship fund in her name? For single mothers completing their education. She could help select recipients. Be involved. Then she's not being saved. She's saving others." He stared at her. "That's perfect. God, that's exactly right." "I know," Lily said softly. "Because it's what I'd want. What I'll want when I'm her." Something broke open in his expression. He stood, came around the desk, and knelt beside her chair. Lily Morrison, you're the most extraordinary person I've ever met. And I'm going to say something completely inappropriate for an employer. I'm falling in love with you. Have been since the coffee incident. Maybe before. Her breath stopped. James, I know. Power dynamics. Professionalism. I'm not asking you to respond. But I need you to know. If you want to leave, find another position, I'll write you a recommendation that'll get you any job in the city. I won't hold this over you. But if you stay, I need you to know why I sometimes look at you like you're the answer to questions I didn't know I was asking. Lily sat very still, heart hammering. What if I don't want another job? Then we navigate this carefully. Janet becomes your direct supervisor. I recuse myself from your evaluations. We maintain boundaries at work. His gray eyes were vulnerable. But outside work, I'd very much like to take you to dinner and see if this is as real as it feels. It feels terrifying, Lily whispered. Good terrifying or bad terrifying? She touched his face, first time, soft contact. Good terrifying. Really good terrifying. James smiled, and the relief in his expression made him look younger. Friday, 7 p.m. I'll pick you up. Okay. He stood, helped her up, and returned to professional distance. Now let's build that scholarship fund. I want the first recipient selected by Christmas. They worked side by side, building something that would matter. And Lily thought, this is how love works when it's real. Not rescue. Partnership. Friday arrived with October rain that turned Manhattan silver. Lily left work at 5, went home, and stared at her closet with mild panic. She owned exactly one dress suitable for dating a billionaire. Black, simple, purchased for a funeral 3 years ago. It would have to work. James arrived at 7:02, apologizing for the 2-minute delay. He wore dark jeans and a sweater instead of his usual suit, looking more human, more nervous. You look beautiful. You've seen me in this. I've seen you in coffee-stained blazers, and you were still beautiful. Tonight's just more obvious. He offered his arm. Come on. I promise not to be weird about the money thing. You're taking me in a Mercedes. It's inherently weird. They went to a small French restaurant in Brooklyn. No reservations needed, no pretension. They talked for 3 hours. About his mother's first chemo session that week. About Lily's abandoned degree. About the scholarship fund they were building together. The foundation would launch in January. The Grace Kincaid Scholarship for Single Mothers in Education, named after his mother. She cried when I told her. James said quietly. Said it was the first time her struggle felt like it meant something. It always meant something. She raised you. That's everything. He reached across the table, took her hand. Can I tell you something I've never told anyone? Always. When I was 12, my mother worked night shifts at Murphy's. I'd wait at the diner, doing homework in a back booth. One night, a customer, drunk, angry, threw coffee at her. Told her she was too stupid to get his order right. It burned her arm. She didn't cry, just apologized and got him a refund. James's voice was tight. I swore that night that I'd make enough money so she'd never have to apologize for someone else's cruelty again. Lily squeezed his hand. When you saw me at Hartman and Associates, you saw her getting dismissed again. And when you spilled coffee on me, I realized the universe has a sense of humor. Full circle. He smiled. I'm glad you ruined my shirt, Lily. Best accident of my life. They left at 10:30. James drove her home, walked her to her door again. Under the broken porch light, he touched her face. Can I kiss you? You're still technically my boss. Technically Janet's your boss now. I signed the transfer paperwork yesterday. Then yes. He kissed her, soft, careful, absolutely certain. Lily felt the world tilt and resettle into something better. Over the next 3 months, they built their relationship alongside the scholarship fund. Lily met his mother, Grace Kincaid, sharp and funny despite chemotherapy, who hugged Lily hard and whispered, You're good for him. He smiles now. James met Lily's small world, Murphy's diner crew, her landlord, the bodega owner who'd extended her credit when she was desperate. He fit surprisingly well, asking questions, remembering names. In December, the first scholarship recipients were selected. 7 single mothers receiving full tuition support, mentorship, and childcare assistance. Grace chose each one personally, saying, This one has my stubborn. This one has my hope. At the ceremony, James stood beside Lily, watching his mother present awards. Thank you, he said quietly. For what? For teaching me that helping people isn't about rescue. It's about seeing them clearly and asking what they need. You knew that instinctively. I had to learn it. You learned it from your mother. I just reminded you. In January, Grace's cancer went into remission. The doctors called it unexpected but promising. Grace called it stubbornness. In February, James proposed to Lily at Murphy's Diner, in the same back booth where he'd once done homework while his mother worked. The ring was simple, the question direct. Marry me. Not because I saved you. You saved yourself. But because you make me better. Make everything better. And I want to build the rest of my life with you. Lily said yes through tears, and the diner erupted in applause. The staff gave them free pie. They married in May. At City Hall, small ceremony, immediate family, Grace crying happy tears. The honeymoon was postponed because the scholarship fund's first recipients were graduating and Lily refused to miss it. At the graduation ceremony, she watched 7 women, exhausted, triumphant, no longer invisible, receive their degrees. James squeezed her hand. That's your legacy too. You helped build this. We built it together. That's the point. Afterward, one of the recipients approached them, a young woman named Sarah with dark circles under her eyes and a baby on her hip. Ms. Morrison, can I thank you? Your story, how you got your job, how you didn't give up, it helped me keep going. You made struggle feel less lonely. Lily hugged her carefully, mindful of the baby. You're going to be extraordinary. I know because you're exactly who I was. And look where stubbornness gets you. That night, in the apartment they now shared overlooking Central Park, still strange after months of adjustment, Lily stood at the window watching the city glow. James came up behind her, arms around her waist. What are you thinking? That 2 years ago, I was counting coins for a pregnancy test I couldn't afford. And now I'm here, with you, building something that matters. She turned in his arms. It doesn't feel real sometimes. It's real. You earned every bit of it. He kissed her forehead. The coffee spill just accelerated things. Best accident of my life, too. They stood together, watching Manhattan shimmer below, a city full of people struggling, surviving, occasionally being seen by someone who mattered. Lily thought about that morning at Hartman and Associates. How close she'd come to giving up. How one moment of witnessed suffering had changed everything. Not because she'd been rescued, but because someone had seen her clearly and created space for her to rescue herself. I want to expand the scholarship, she said suddenly. Nationwide. More recipients. More Graces who deserve better. James smiled. Already drafting the proposal. I was waiting for you to suggest it. You knew I would. I know you, Lily Kincaid. You're exactly who the world needs. Someone who remembers being invisible and refuses to let anyone else disappear. She kissed him, soft, certain, grateful for the accident that became purpose. Outside, the city hummed with millions of stories. But this one, built on spilled coffee, hard-won trust, and the radical act of being truly seen. This one was theirs. Complete. Real. Absolutely earned. And just beginning.